They ready to hear something good, some good news.
Oh, yes. Love is life. Yes. Wisdom, love, and truth divine to all. We got a beautiful understanding we're going to be understanding today
Mm-hmm.
as we open our divine meeting in the name of our divine creator, Al-Sufian. And we pronounce and proclaim Islam. Islam means self knowledge. We have a divine agenda because our agenda is divine. To understand Muhammad's Allah, as we say in colloquialisms of today, this divine meeting is open to all humans, to all of humanity, to all walks of life. No matter if you in organizations, societies, if you mean good for all of humanity, you invited. And also, we like to thank our attendees who attend to know thyself clearly. On the manifest today, we have some questions, some key questions and discussions. In understanding Muhammad's law, we're going to be questioning what is the nature of existence and how to manifest divinely. Our previous knowledge we covered was going from God to all are, the meaning of unity, understanding aha, thinking outside of the box, non-centricity. Our new knowledge today is going to be Allah is free from reflection. Allah does not beget. Allah is not begotten. Allah defined in the Quran. And Allah is not a God. We hope you enjoy peace and love as we begin our divine instructions from chapter 7.
Okay, I'll start it off. Allah topic. Allah is free from reflection. The topic of divine reflection in parentheses, Hajjala, is also very important. Since Allah exists absolutely in every point and instant of existence, it follows that Allah does not have a reflection. Reflection, Tajalla, denotes manifestation, visualization, or materialization. All of these, high up, implies duality. we note that existence is one and everything transpired within this one. Hence, a reflection of this one cannot be conceivable. The word reflection is employed only because of the inadequacy of language, as no word can duly contain the one. So that's what I was talking about. Like in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God. See, this is that right there. They starting out with a lie. They tell you to pronounce the word, spell the word, and use it in a sentence this day and time now. So if you say in the beginning was the word, well, what is this word, and can you spell it to me, and can you use it in a sentence? No, it's just words, and we'll leave it like that. That's where the translator did it. In order for anything to have a reflection, it must first have a center, a core, an essence from which meaning can be reflected to the place of reflection. Like the rays that permeate from the core of the sun, as such a law must also have a core in order to have a reflection. This is impossible. Allah is not a localized material entity to have a core. A reflection needs a center point from which it can originate. Without this center point, one cannot talk about a reflection. You know, when you think about fruit, like plums and peaches, there's some lines in the center of that fruit. Mm-hmm. You split it open. Mm-hmm. Curiosity kind of rises your nature. Mm-hmm. And you decide to let's look within. You will see just what it's saying. Just to reflect.
That's a beautiful analogy. It has a core.
It has a core.
And anything that has a core has a circumference.
That's right.
And so the fruit will be the circumference
of
that core, which is the seed.
Yeah. Like that old pretty marijuana bud. Or the hemp or the herb. Because it has many names as well too. And some of the names condemns and makes it ugly. And that's the point is used to just to do that, just that. Beyond this commonly accepted definition of the word reflection, it actually meaning pertinent to our topic is the projection of the names as the world of acts during the observation of the qualities and meaning of the names by Allah in Allah knowledge.
And this is what was back in the day called self-knowledge. All laws knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So we get a good description of what the understanding of reflection is.
Mm-hmm.
The meanings you were speaking on earlier about, you learn how to pronounce the word, spell the word, and then use the word in a sentence.
That's what they taught me.
That's a method called reflection.
Okay.
With that method of reflection, they use that as a mirror to hold up their world and for us to reflect their world.
Mm-hmm.
So when they gave us the meanings
Yep.
of these reflections,
Mm-hmm.
these reflections reflected a world within a society.
Mm-hmm.
McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's. See what I mean? You can picture these when I say it.
That's right.
You can see the location.
Yeah. Probably done been there at one of those.
Right. Especially young.
But I won't accuse nobody of being there.
This is how we get to understand to know thyself clearly. And this is why they gave us a fictional reflection.
Sure did.
Just like holding a mirror in front of the self.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fictional reflection.
Yeah.
That's not the true actual self that's
right.
reflected in the mirror.
That's right.
That's the flesh,
Uh-huh.
the core,
Yeah.
reflecting.
That's right.
So now when we are talking about the creator, the divine mind
Mm-hmm.
is free from reflection.
Mm.
The original way, if we was taught properly through right knowledge, is that the names means the names of all laws knowledge, which is the knowledge of self. We're just going to make sure that's clear on the agenda and on the record.
Oh, yeah.
This is pertaining to self-knowledge.
That's right.
How we know thyself clearly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you know, it's amazing how when they catch you right before kindergarten and in between kindergarten and the school, they like to ask you what you want to be. So now, here you are, and they're messing with your mind, and now you see like farmers and professional football players and basketball players and doctors, and the list goes on. You see that? Now, ask you what you want to be. Now you want to be one of that. It ain't got nothing to do with you. They setting you up to be something else. And now that's your focus. That's what's been presented to you.
Mm-hmm.
In the past, certain masters employed the word reflection to denote this reality. My first book, published in 1967, is also named Tessaliot, which literally means reflection. In the general sense, such words are also used to aid those with innate ability and aptitude to discover the essence of this truth. Having made this clarification, let us now continue our exploration. can Allah be worshipped? That's the question. Who will another Muhammad, peace be upon him, said the following in regards to Allah. Allah was, all capital letters, WJS, here behind it.
Bible scripture, John 1:1.
And nothing other than Allah exists. Upon hearing this, the listener relayed these words to Hadrat Ali, to whom Muhammad saw refers as the gate of knowledge and awake and explanation. And here is Al-Kimakan in Arabic. We can conclude from this that Allah is neither what Allah was then, i.e., nothing about Allah has changed from then till now.
Mm-hmm. Now equate Allah to self. To have knowledge of self is to have knowledge of Allah.
Mm-hmm.
Islam.
Taking a deeper look, the word
English now. I want to interject.
come on.
The word "the" is the word theo. Theos. The word "the" is short for the Greek word theos. Theos. And that means God. From language, we understand wisdom, and so that's very powerful that English takes the Arabic word al, which is the first two letters of Allah, and use it as the word the, which is a Greek word for God in English. As we read, keep that in mind.
Look like, before we go back to me, they were explaining that just like what you just said. When you really want to get it right, you can see the slippery slope and the snakes crawling along.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, sister, what you saying?
But when they're interpreting it, or is that the actual language?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, but you're saying English interpret AL, that's it.
Mm-hmm. Instead of keeping it original.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
That's the point that we need to get.
That's what
Instead of keeping it original, which changes not. They change.
That's what I'm talking about. And why you would make that perfectly clear. That's a beautiful thought from the sister. Why you wouldn't make that perfectly clear to say that what you just said, denote that and make note of that so they be crystal clear. The original is this, but now that we're using this language, we will switch a rule here. Okay?
Now listen this very closely. This is the reason why this is so important with the symbol letter of the and a and any. Do I need to pick it up?
Oh, I thought you were going to read something. Okay. All right. I'm going. It denotes specificity rather than generalization. If one says book, it means a book. As in any book. But when we say the book, in parentheses, Al-Kitab, we are making a reference to a specific and known book. Just like they say, in the beginning was the word, we got the word, walked up. That ain't being. You're just slanging the word right now. The word. The. I know they go THE again too. We are making a reference to a specific and known book. Hence, to say al and where, to say al and where and means instant, the reference is made to a specific and known. Hence, we can restate the meaning of this as the instant that we are in is that instant, which means the instant at which Allah was and nothing other than Allah exists is very instant now.
Okay, let me make some clarity points. We're using the word the. When you use the word the, that points to a specific. If we use the word a, that points to anything. So now, generalizing, you say a. Talking directly, you say the. So when we want to understand self, we have to understand self from the perspective, not a perspective. See, this is the cleverness of English and how they have trapped mind by separating instead of unifying. So now when we see the letters A-L and we see the letters A-N, like in our sacred word, Al-Sufian. So when we say, or when you say Al and you say Sufian, those two are put in that word. This is strictly, specifically referencing something to be known. So each name of the divine creator is the actual meaning of reflection. So if we names of the divine creator, that would be how you manifest. Because in this reality, we talking about a specific thing when you're talking about manifesting. So if you understand specificness, specificity, then you understand manifestation. And the self is the knowledge that needs to be known here, who is the manifestor. But we have no knowledge of self, so we don't know knowledge of self is manifesting the knowledge of self. In other words, self-knowledge is the only reality of nature. Even a dog knows its own identity. Even a roach knows its own identity. Everything in nature knows its own self. But man, reflections are not the essence. Adam had his self with the apron when he was found unconscious. Then pre-conscious, Adam was naked.
Yeah.
So that means consciousness is a reflection of something that was pre-conscious. So in life, flesh is the consciousness that is a reflection of something greater called pre-consciousness. And to understand self, we have to understand all law. If we don't understand all law, we won't understand the self.
You know, I just want to, before I read any more, I just want to think about, I'm thinking about something you said that pretty much everything knows its place in itself. But man, somehow, some way, with the education, he has lost. Let's add the church. Let's add the church in there too.
That's an education.
Because that's an education, not to mention all these professions. But my point in this is a scholar, but yet, man, those topics. He's been called by many different things, and we all can agree to that and attest to that. He called many different things.
And that's why we have to stay on the agenda to finish what we need to finish so the idea can become fully complete. Because we have been stripped, and the Creator is now giving us back what we were stripped of.
Yeah.
And that's self-knowledge. And self-knowledge is heaven. So when we understand what K.O.S is, K.O.S. is all law.
Right on. Beautiful. Mm-hmm.
It's
Beautiful. The concept of time is essentially only applicable to engendered existence. Only something that is created can have a beginning and ending, a present and future. Such concept, it is inapplicable to think a law was in such a state in the past, but is in another state now. A law is forever in the same state of perfection at all times. How beautiful that is. How beautiful that is.
mm-hmm.
And we should be able to see that in our own existence because of the different manifestations. How we start out a baby and how we transform and change to different many things. In this sense, even if words such as was are employed in reference to Allah, it is up to us to construct this correctly as beyond the concept of time applicable to all time or even timeless. All of this alludes to the reality that the moment we are in now is the very moment that Allah is, and nothing other than Allah is.
Is long. Is long.
Is long. Ain't that beautiful?
Wisdom. Now, this is why it's important to understand how English have finagled the mind of the user.
Yes.
The user of English do not comprehend self-knowledge because the principles of English separates knowledge from self and gives it a substitute reflection called meanings instead of names of yourself, which is the names of all law. So now we got to break it back down. They have created a pronunciation malfunction. When it comes to the divine name of self, we understand that now AL is there for a reason. And the reason is to specify. And to specify means to manifest. So now when we are talking about manifesting that which is, this is what we have to understand why all law is not an A. When you say a God, now you are saying the same thing in English as anyone that is not being specific. A God means any God. So when you say a and then any word after that, it separates itself. Now it becomes the worshiper and the worship. And this is a phonetic trick to keep worshiping outside of the self. So they will use a self,
Mm.
a God.
Mm.
This is very key for us to key in on.
Oh, yeah.
These the keys
Mhm.
as we continue our agenda.
Nothing has come into existence from Allah. The proof. The proof is within the chapter Al-Ikhlas. Since Allah is Ahad, a secondary form of existence cannot be possible. It is also impossible for Allah to be divided into parts across time. Let's just pause for a couple seconds. I wonder why, when they were describing Allah, did you see that in the other books? They put a hard there. When you read the Muhammad version of the Holy Quran,
We have it pulled up.
and then you got the Yusuf Ali Holy Quran Bible.
This is where it's not in the Quran as a ha.
Well, see, well, they changed.
You have to know phonetics. That's what I was saying. And they don't examine the words. To me, I examine everything letter by letter.
That's good.
So
good
the word ahad is in the word shahada. See, so they have blended the word shahada and covered it. So the word ahad is not pronounced in it. See, and these are the works of the Persians. And this is why we are studying what we're studying, because just as the Christian text, tamper the Muslim text. And none of these people have went to jail or is top criminals. And this is the most gravest crime, to tamper with holy script. Because look what we do now. Things like this, stuff is mashed in. So they clumping with English, they clumping and lumping all of it together like a lump of leaven.
They're making chicken and dumpling on us.
Right. And if we don't clean up the mess ourselves, then we gonna be the end of the result. And that's going into the belly of a monster.
That's right.
And the belly of a monster is what these words we keep pronouncing out.
It's strong. That's correct.
If the word was God, then we want to examine every word.
That's correct.
Because we need to understand why words have been changed. They are not in the original language. They have been translated since 6,000 years to present time now, creating the languages that we call in other languages. But the other come out of the one. So most people to this day don't understand the original Bible. Before Constantine came, the original Bible was written in Arabic. And that's contestable and provable throughout time. So if we the original word, what they are saying that is now the Bible original language from what it was translated from to become in English, it says it came from Hebrew and Latin. Well, Hebrew and Latin ain't the original translation. Hebrew and Latin come from somewhere.
There you go.
And Hebrew and Latin come from Arabic. Jesus spoke Arabic. Muhammad spoke Arabic. Down to Adam, Abraham spoke Arabic.
Look at that.
This was a universal language, like English is becoming universal today.
Right on.
And so is in the English letters.
Yeah. Yeah.
But once we understand where these letters derive from,
Yeah.
now we can understand how to play by the rules.
Mm-hmm.
And know that these rules are divine.
Yeah.
So now this is why we got to understand self clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Self first is divine. So any text not telling you first that self is divine and anything other than divine, self do not worship.
Right on. Right on. Right on.
This is what the message is of what self is.
Mm-hmm.
The self is all.
Mm-hmm.
And this is for a reason. This means all eyes combined.
Mm-hmm. Boy, that's powerful.
That's what it's like when the people come together under self-knowledge called K.O.S. knowledge, we call Al-Sufian.
Mm-hmm.
This is the wisdom divine.
Mm-hmm.
As we continue on our agenda.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. A heart is only valid for one single instant. You know, by the word "the." I am the. The is the instant that aha is itself. Allah is Samar. If we take an intensive look at the meaning of this word, we will see that Samar meaning the Father, a whole without any void of emptiness, impermeable, nothing penetrates to it, nothing extends out from it, pure and only.
Mm-hmm. Pure and only.
Pure and only.
That's the word door. Now here, that's the word door.
Yeah.
And the door is the opening.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we calling the emptiness, the void,
Mm-hmm.
the nothing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Welcome to Islam.
As can be said, all the above are synonyms with complement the meaning of aha. Yeah. Remember when you were in school? Synonym. When you after reading this and then the AL and the AN and then you come back to English, I mean, when you learn the alphabets in English and all, you kind of, if it ain't Arabic, you're kind of walking into a trap. When you, after reading this here and learning this now, you look at the letters now, because this is what they did. It divided into parts across time. Across time, from 9 to 10, look what they done.
And only your scholars are going to figure this out.
Sure, yeah.
No one else ain't going to figure it out for you.
That's right.
If you ain't paying somebody to figure this stuff out for you, and you ain't figuring it out, then you will never know. It's not that you can't. It's just time. If you ain't going to spend enough time in it, then you need to pay someone who will spend time in it and bring back everything that was found in it. This is what we have to understand. Has not been put no time into understanding self. So when it comes to self-knowledge, there's going to be a defect in it until we understand the holiness. This is the whole without any void. This is why we call it holiness. Hallowed be thy name. We're not talking hallowed, we're talking holy. Holy be thy name. The word holy is the word holy. Allah. Allah. Holy. Ali. See, all these are phonetics. Sound shifting.
Yep. Hallowed be thy name.
And so we have to understand what is all this coming from. Not what it means, where it's coming from. We understand where it's coming from. Now we have the source. So we have to now break ourselves down from and come from the source. Yeah. What was the source? Yeah. And you find out it's a special Arabic, a specific, not any Arabic, a specific Arabic called Marabi, Maraba. And the origin of all religions and faiths. Jainism, the Bins, the Jinns, and the Rins. It all comes from reverting or reversing the original text. So the original text, which is the Al-Sufian, I'm going to read a Sufa out of it right quick. Sufa 80, 26. As a Sufian, you respect all religions. The way, Sufian means the way. The way respects all religions. The way respects all faiths. The way is ultimately part of Islam. And Islam means self-knowledge. This is what we have to understand. That was my finishing line on that as we get back.
The one with no void, the impermeable one, into which nothing can be inserted, and from which nothing comes out, limitlessly, infinite, indivisible, nor composed of parts or fragments. The one and only the heart. You know, all I can think about and reflect when we was talking about English and how they go about doing it. So that explains now when we get all over the world why they went and set up the English camp in everybody's backyard.
It's called the English College, where English was established at.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Working under the Freemasonry cloak.
Yes, indeed.
And these are part of the groups that are hiding self-knowledge by creating secret societies to hide knowledge from all of humanity.
Yeah.
So humans have been, when they call psychologically deprived of a fullness of who they are. Is intentionally being deprived every moment of your life. They are snatching your knowledge out of yourself and putting it in technology, and now yourself gonna go to the technology, and soon, if you believe in technology enough, you're gonna go inside of it. They already working on it. And so if you don't know the self-tech, the technology of self, The self is beyond the technology of the sun, the moon, and the stars.
Right on.
The technology of the self is like the space that holds all things together in the dunya, or the cosmos, or the K.O.S. When we're talking understanding the knowledge of all, this is insufficiency of self-knowledge.
Okay. Let us try to understand the Allah to which these words allude, otherwise we can never stop worshiping the God we have created. In our minds, form parts of those who did not appreciate Allah do that. Quran 6. Additionally, Samar also means the absolute sufficient one, the concept of need. We should be shaming ourselves as the people sitting around waiting on somebody else.
It's going to continue to happen if we don't.
Let me read on.
Okay, if God is not self, let's continue.
Indeed, if nothing else other than Allah is in existence, how can Allah be in need of anything? Question mark. So then, whence came the Ahad Allah revealed by Muhammad saw? How did this profound engender exist? Numerous originate by Muhammad, peace be upon him, again, chapter Al-Ikhlas has the answers. Lam Yalid wa Lam Yalid.
That covers our first part. Or 4 parts of our agenda.
They done begotten us to death. They said, but God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son. So,
Right.
I mean, then the Trinity, then dividing all these into parts.
Man, it took me a long time to sit still and understand all of this, what I'm saying. This don't happen overnight.
No, it don't.
And this that definitely don't happen without knowing what's happening. This is the trick that has been played on all of humanity to take over humanity. As they say, there's only 1% of the people ruling over the 100%. So the 1% is only saying that the 1%, what they the 100% don't know, is called self-knowledge.
That's what it is.
This is the 1% knowledge that would destroy any knowledge, all knowledge. This 1% is what the governments are using to rule over. So we have to come together to rule over ourselves. And there's a way to do that. You don't just do it by not coming together. You come together, and this is how it's done. When we are divided, that's called. When we are separated, that's called begetted. When we are all united in our mind with the one divine mind, this is called unity. Unity. Self upon self. And this is how the 1% has been getting everything done with themselves, stealing the method of the knowledge of self. If you ever wanted the 1% knowledge that'll change your life, that was it. And we continually bringing forth the 1% knowledge. We're going to move to our next agenda, our second part or 4 part.
8. Allah does not beget. What does this mean? Question mark. Can it be alluding to the act of begetting? The word beget means to give birth to another form of existence that is like your class. Anything that has the capacity to beget produces another being like itself, from itself, and carries it as itself. But Allah does not. That's the case. That's the case.
And what do
Everybody loving themselves, the subsequent ones say what they love Allah. It's not true.
what our understanding what self is, you're right. Because when the woman catch at a marriage, the little flying flower, what they call it?
Okay.
Hey, that's called beget.
Look at this.
And see, who is the one that's begetted? The woman. See, we have to connect everything.
Sure.
Can't nothing fly by itself. See, because that's what they get saying, to fly by themselves, so you don't look at what is.
God has not created another being, or no other being has originated into existence from the existence of Allah, as Allah is the indivisible one, the Ahad. Allah is limitless and infinite. Therefore, it is not possible for another being to come into existence within or outside of Allah. Allah is Ahad and hence indivisible, which nullifies the possibility of another to originate from him. Therefore, it is not possible for another form of existence to have originated from Allah, even if it is with Allah's promise. Allah is not begotten and has not beget.
That's it right there. So as we learning the truth of self, these are the deep things that they call the Spirit of God. The things that we wasn't supposed to. This is why they called it incomprehensible.
Yeah.
But no, the Creator is not incomprehensible. That's like saying yourself is incomprehensible. You couldn't comprehend if you didn't have comprehension. Means that you can just improve your comprehension to the level where you comprehend all. And this is called consciousness. Becoming conscious of its pre-consciousness. And that's what we call all are. It all are was. So what you are now is what all are was. See, and this is hard for us to understand with the wrong text in front. because some texts say he has a begotten. You see, it separates, it's unified. And so all separated, or it wouldn't be all. Makes sense. So we're going to begin on our next third part. Is not begotten. Lam Yulah. Not begotten is what Lam Yulah means. Lam Yulah means not begotten. To be begotten from something. This is very key here. Something have originated from another being, qualities of this being. This is the general usage of this word. A garden, for example. If you know how to clone, or they say clip, a plant, understanding that science, that is called begotten. You are clipping a plant to restructure another being from this structure.
That's right.
That which is pre-conscious. So now we're talking about the essence. And see, the essence of all law is the self, not the flesh. The flesh is what maybe someone is thinking is when you create a child. That's flesh. That's not how angels create. That's how humans create. Angels don't have flesh. So now we are getting more closer to what all law is. So now when we understand from the beginning, because we have different texts that say different things, but the self is what remains in all thy understanding. Next paragraph says, so if all law is, it clearly means that all law did not originate from another being. Now, we got to understand this is between God and all are. How can all are have originated by another being if all law is Wahid? All are is the infinite, limitless, indivisible, one and only. So we're talking about who have reflections in his mind cannot comprehend the spirit which is infinite in mind. No thought in mind. Thoughts come out. Spell thought, you see the word out. Anything out is not the essence. It's in all law. This is why we have to understand the Sufian. That which is in self. The I in self. This is why in Islam the code of the decipher is I self. This is very different. Not our flesh is the Lord. I self. People told that the I was the ego. In my beginning studies, when you read the wrong studies, they tell you the ego is the I. Incorrect. The ego is the self, and the I is the self. And this is what translators have translated us out into the New Jerusalem. To the east, dry, without any water or life that was in space. This is key what we're saying here. To be able to think of another being from which all can originate, all law must define dimensions and parameters. That's called law. When you define something and give it borders or enclosement through meaning and definitions, that's called law. The word. This is where you get the word Colleen. So now when we understanding, this is why you got shape and form. Because you are the word that became flesh. The word has letters, depth, dimension, parameters. Some words short, some words long. Some people short, some people tall. This is because of the word made your flesh, but you got to understand the science. So if the word made your flesh and you can speak word, what can you do with word? You can make flesh or make this. So let's get back to the teachings. All are must first have defined dimensions and parameters such that we can ascertain the limits in order to determine the location of this other being. La ilaha Allah illallah. There is no other deity. We have to understand what it's talking to your deep innermost self. That phrase is a scientific beyond philosophy that people in Greek philosophy has called theora apophysis. This word theora apophysis is an apophatic method of negativity based on theological reasoning. So all your theologians know about this method of determining what is and what's not. And so your preachers and the pulpitters won't introduce you to this science. So once you know, so when we want to be understanding what Ahad or Wahid is Wahida, meaning he is limitless, infinite, and indivisible, meaning the unique. You are so unique that others want to take away your uniqueness. You are free to be of yourself. There's not another self like you in existence right now. You can have a self, a self with the same name as yourself, and y'all still are two unique, distinct, and that's due to the self. Two same names can have two distinct selves. This is because of all law. The word made flesh, the self that became flesh. We have to understand this is a science of divinity, not theology, not philosophy, not theosophy, not ontology, not epistemology, not metaphysics. This is beyond those sciences. This is where all those sciences derive from. The Wahid, the Al-Sufian, or the Hagia Sophia. As such, continuing with our exegesis, as such, it is not possible for all art to have originated from another being. This is what Lam Yulah means. The following verse, Lam Yakun Lahu Kufawun Aha, can be interpreted as there is none like unto him within the micro or the macro cosmo. Nothing is like the likeness of the Ahad, Illa Wahida. This is what we have to understand. Even the cosmos that we live in, different than the self. The cosmos you live in is comprised of two or more ideals. Two or more ideals produces thought, called spirit and mind. When spirit and mind fuses together, it produces what we call thought. Now, thought is something that we have to understand is how we connect ourselves to the invisible world. To connect to the visible world, this is why we have flesh. Now, in terms of micro and macro, the flesh would be the macro and the the mind would be the micro. In between the mind and the body, you have the self, which is neither the higher or the lower. It is the divine vine that holds all together. And so existence within the micro or macro planes is equivalent to you. That word who is the word you. Nothing is greater than he that is in you. See, this is what we have to understand. You is the unit that holds the self or the all. This is what was covered up in the science of the YHWH as the secret name of God lodges. Remember, all walks of life is welcome here. So all your sciences are divulged into divine divinity. The self is naturally divine by nature. What we didn't know is that the self is the only the self. Remember, the self, or let's say water can only be water. Water is water, like gold is gold. So the self can only reveal the self. And this has been a mystery to all of us. The books, the cosmos, and the people in it don't reveal self. Only the self reveals the self, and that's the meaning of Illa Fatiha. Only the self reveals the self. So when we're talking about understanding the cosmos, that's secondary. Understanding people, that's secondary. Understanding God, that is secondary. Understanding heaven, that is secondary. the first thing you should study and to know is thyself. If you know thyself, you will know the church, you will know the book, you will know the universe, you will know the people, you will know the flesh. You will know all, because all comes out of the self. Illah na'ah. So that's how we say the divine self, the divine one that's within the flesh. And that ends our wisdom on that teaching. We move to our next agenda.
Okay. 10. Allah as defined in the Quran. Let us now try to understand the Allah revealed by Muhammad. Saul in the chapter of Al-Isra and see if Allah correlates with the God concept in our mind. Or because that been deeply planted, that God concept in our mind. They'll say that people, you hear that come out of people's mouths all day long when you get talking about truth.
Bring it on home, great elder.
Yes, indeed. Ain't nothing just God itself, no nothing. Just the word God alone. Who, Allahu, Ahad. Say, Allah is Ahad. Allah is the infinite, limitless, and indivisible. In capital letter, oneness. Allahu, Samar, Allah is Samar. Allah is the absolute self-sufficient one. Beyond any need or defect. Before I go any further, we should ask, who are we then? Because somehow, somewhere, somebody got us using a bait hook on us. And we can't live without them. We got to have them. We just can't live life without them. Self-sufficient. Sufficient one beyond any need or defect. Nothing can enter him, and nothing in no other form of existence can come out from him. Allah cannot be conceptualized. Oh boy, I ain't gonna talk about how they done conceptualize us. I ain't gonna even talk about that. I ain't gonna even talk about how the Republican Party and the Democratic Party got you voting hook on the end of it. Let's move on.
See, that's why we have to return to our holy scriptures. Once we revisit all the holy scriptures, so for instance, the Moorish Holy Quran, first chapter, the thoughts of all are cannot be circumscribed. See, so that's another way of saying conceptualize the infinity.
Yeah. When you think about, we're going to say this very quick. When you think about COVID-19, see, that's a conceptualization going on there. Let's move on. Live, you live. He began now. No other form of existence had ever originated from him. There is no other. Lamb you lay, nor was he begotten. There is no other God or form of existence from which he have originated. Today that they got people, depending upon where you live at, they refer to as Lord or my Lord, they bow down and all this to. I mean, boy, that ain't a big case of do for brainwashing. Lamb, Lahu, Kufa, Aha. There is none like unto him. Nothing in the micro or macro planes of existence is equivalent or in resemblance of him. He is Ahad. All teaching pertaining to religion begins with this question: is Allah? Some answers this question by explaining the God they have created in their heads, and some referring to Allah by Muhammad. Lineate this time, let's try and understand the teaching imparted to us by Muhammad Saw in regards to who and who Allah really is, so that we can clearly see that Allah has nothing to do with the concept of God, with which we have been indoctrinated for ages.
Did we catch that? The concept of God indoctrinated all of humanity for millennia.
Yeah. In the same, and if you really into K.O.S. knowledge itself, you get indoctrinated. Because this is what everybody pushing. This is what everybody's saying. This is what everybody's doing. Allah taught us by Muhammad, peace be upon him, is Ha, Alim, Marie, Qadir, Sama, Bazir, Kalim. Therefore, the one denotes by the name of Allah, who is Ahad, is the possessor of the attributes above. That is, the one denotes by the name of Allah is Ahad. The one denotes by the name of Allah is Hayy, Ahad, limitless, infinite, indivisible, life. The one denotes by the name of Allah in Alim, limitless, knowledge. The one that knows by the name of Allah in Marie, limitless, infinite, indivisible, will. The one that Allah in Qadir, limitless, infinite, indivisible, means power. The one that goes by the name of Allah in God, limitless, infinite, indivisible, receiver. The one denoted by the name Allah in Bazar, limitless, infinite, indivisible, the only. The one denoted by the name Allah in is Kalim, limitless, infinite, indivisible, totality of meanings. Kalim, meaning. It is imperative that we understand that all of these names and their composition, be it Aha and Hey, Aline and Marie, or Hey and Quadir, all point to the same and only Allah. That all of these expressions pertaining to the same unique being. They are merely different composition qualities and attributes of the same one. Allah, as Muhammad saw, is beyond concept, such as beginning and ending. He is infinite, limitless, and indivisible. Possesses infinite meanings and illimitable will. He is infinite power, and there is no other than him. He has no inner or outer, core or center. Sure, Allah is Ahad, the one. In attempt to prevent a common misunderstanding among those who may not be familiar with this topic, I like to make a very in the Quran. The word Illah in parentheses, God is mentioned, such as our God or your God, immediately after which is stated that this God is Allah. It is natural for one to think Allah is a God. However, these kinds of statements are for those who believe in the God concept. Just like the warning, Allah does not sleep. is an answer to those who believe in God that sleep. In other words, it is telling them the God you believe in does not exist. It is only Allah that exists. Your God, our God, is one and only. It is Allah alone. All of this is God illusions and to recognize Allah. You know what? Before I go
Deep understanding right there.
with that last verse. When I look reflect, all the elders have went before me that have passed and went on. That's what they died with. Just the word God. And that's what they believed in. And they thought that just saying God alone would save them. And he died that way. Last paragraph. Indeed, if one may see that such warning have always come addressing the dualist Mushirka, who fragment the one reality by worshiping God they assume outside of Allah in order to guide them back to of Allah.
And that's the time point we in right now in the 21st century. Gathering humanity back to all are. Leaving the concept that we have created in our own head. This is what the mind, when the scripture tell you the double-minded mind is unstable in all his ways. The double-minded man have made up his God through a science called conceptualism.
Yeah, that's right.
So these people gave you concepts of success. This is the dream. Concepts of you need this in your life.
Yes.
Concepts. Even poverty is a concept that was placed on people. So we have to boil this out the water. We have to ask self, these questions. All most. But you give it and to walk in it. That's up to you. Once made known, now you got to deal with the knowledge. Can you do the knowledge? Because that's what it means.
No more God game, as Dr. Malachi Yo. The God game.
The God game.
Been playing the God game with us for a long, mighty long time. Mighty long time.
And that's why the youth is here destroying. The youthful scholars of today that come from the black community is destroying. Only people holding on to it It's the people that won't come to self-knowledge. They want to stay in their concept.
Yeah.
They conceptualize God that has done nothing but not helped. See, and so this is where belief has shifted. Belief has shifted from all to belief in God. This is the 21st century. The belief, why we have to bring the truth and the divine. If it's not across the board universally sound, then it's not divine. And this is of self-knowledge. And you was never told is that is what the word is long self-knowledge. And since we have been disclosed as a non-disclosure contract, then since we don't have income, that means guess you don't have self-knowledge. So now Islam using the word God of self-knowledge. When you use the word all, you are using a term to describe self-knowledge. And this is the greatest of all, the greatest of all. Nothing greater than the knowledge of all. You will find yourself, you yourself. So now we're going to go into our last in chapter 11. Allah is not a God. Now I know this is very hidden, so we're going to read it slowly. Let's consult our conscience and have a think. Is God in whom you have either believed or not believed, but in any case of whom you have been conditioned to think in a particular way. Can the word or concept God even be applied to all disclosed by Muhammad, peace be upon him? A statement out of Surah 6, Ayat 91. And they did not duly appraise all. The place of God in the sight of all is the same as that of a servant. We got to understand, this is how this thing got switched. Servant and slave.
Yeah, boy.
These two has in English have been denoted as the same. Remember, in English, they lump things together like brain, mind, and consciousness. All this is lumped together in English. So also, God can be lumped with all are. So now people who hear this word Allah associate the concept of God, which is an error. The place of God in the sight of all is the same as that of a servant, for both are forms, characters. Both are characters of meanings in all Allah's knowledge. Is what we got to come to the grips with. See, God is a meaning of all Allah's knowledge. And let me go ahead and bust the bubble. The word God in Arabic, God is an Arabic word. It's just not pronounced God. That is an English phonetic. The word God would be pronounced in Arabic the word jihad. The word jihad is the word crammed all together, God, in English. So jihad is a form of meaning of all Allah's knowledge. For this reason, everything in the sight of Allah is non-existent. The eternal one, Ilah Baqiya, is only Wajida. That's the only face of Allah. Is the purity, which is clear and transparent. It's not a rainbow where you see colors. It's a space where you see no color. Everything is transparent and is see-through. This is why it says that Allah knows what you think and do. Because to Allah, which is space, is all that is see-through. That which pertains to Allah. Everything, Surah 28, Ayah 88, everything will perish except the face of you. In the word who? See, the Creator knows you are the only thing that would not perish. All flesh dies. Everything born dies. Except you. And yourself. This has been the hidden knowledge called K.O.S. Come out of the Creator to the Creator. From out of the Creator through the heavens to the earth. This is what has to be came. This is what we all ask for. If you ask for God or the Creator. See, your belief is not your intent. See, that's very careful. In your heart, you may not mean what people told you God is. You might mean this exact definitions. So this is why things, but now you understand the true meaning of where the word God comes from. All of this is stolen Arabic. Oh, this is the last sentence on this page. And we got 12 minutes remaining. Everything in terms of is non-existent, shall pass away, as we say in the Moorish tongue. Only the aspect, meaning essence, that pertains to you exists. Spirit or man never dies. The spirit man lives as long as all lives. It says, forever will abide the faith of your Maraba. That's that word. When you hear the word Rabil, Alamin.
Yeah.
That's not the true phonetics behind that word. Rabil by Illah Morabba, which are the divine ancients who brought this knowledge forward. So we have to keep in mind, forever will abide the face of your Rabbah. These are the characters of your essence. Only the meanings of the names pertaining to Dur, Jalila, for Ananama, to Walu, for Sam, Wajula. That's, I want to say for the record, that's Persian version. Those words are Persian versions. They're not the Maraba version. They're not the original Maraba version. So when turn, there is the face of all law. Surah 2, Ayat 115. Next says, wherever you look, you are face to face with the manifestations of the names of all law. See, in public, we can only go so far, as in not having the names of the Creator destroyed once again. So if anyone is interested in learning the names of the divine Creator in private, K.O.S, KOMMUN, gmail.com for private study. But this is all public availability. We just have to understand where are these things located in existence so we can go and retrieve them. So K.O.S has done the work for you, and so all you have to do is study. The next sentence says the word face, Waji, can be used to denote more than one meaning. If one wants to say, you will see the Waji of Mu'i, Muhammad, clearly this is referring to Muhammad's face. But when Wajia is used in the Quran, it denotes another meaning. Though I had explained this in detail in other books. Here, the verse, everything will perish except the face of you, should not be taken as a day in terms of earthly time. Yamuddin. However, right now we are concerned more about what it means to us in our present moment. To perish. Perish is an act that is applicable to all times, including this very moment. According to the enlightened ones, this is observed constantly, evident by the verse, wherever you turn, there is the face of all. The secret here is, due to the lack of wisdom, many are not able to observe the face of all law, the essence of every form of existence. So when you go outside, you are looking in a direction of Allah's face. East, west, north, south, up, down, cross, lateral. You are looking at the face of Allah. And as our Moorish tongue says, when man honors man, he honors Allah. And what man does for another man, male or female, you do for all law. And this is very pivotal into understanding unity. Nowhere where we go, the Creator is present, ever present. And hopefully this study gave us a divine insight onto the nature of self. As we finish up our last 5 minutes, wherever you turn, about your awareness, wherever your awareness turns, with your wisdom and consciousness, you can observe the face of the divine. He is omnipresent and eternal. That is, Allah is eternally present yesterday, today, tomorrow, and forever. Self, you know who survived today that lived to talk about yesterday. No one who didn't survive yesterday can talk about today. We must understand the omni-power, the omniscience, and the omnipresence of all law, which they poorly gave the concept of God. These labels given as God was for us to be taken away from self-knowledge. So if you the site, the word God is the word jihad. The jihad is the great struggle. And the struggle is between the two minds. And which one gonna win? You yourself, or you not being self? Off with the divine truth. If all law is before God, and if God works for all law, then this should really make sense. All law never made a heaven for man. All law never made a hell for man. You is the creator, and you make your own. Close in the last two. The biggest veil for the divine you is the label or name that is given to a particular manifest. This label becomes a blockage to the meaning of the face of the one. The existence behind the veil, the self behind the flesh, and the meanings that constitute it change its existence from the meanings of all Allah's names. Flesh gets its existence from the names of all law, which is the self. Wisdom, love, and truth. Peace, purity. Love divine to all. close this divine meeting in the name of our divine creator, Al-Sufian and K.O.S.